Hello everybody, Cedric here for CRWC, and I'll be reviewing All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. It was a show. It was a show. So look, this show actually, it was, how about this? It was Dynamite. And then later it was like, this is Dynamite. And then by then, this is Dynamite. It just picked up as it went on. So this opens up with, I think this was by marquee value in the wrong spot. But I come from the area of, you're going to have a title match. It needs to be something that people wait to see. But this is opening with title for title. Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Champion, versus Eddie Kingston, the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. Now, this match is one of those, how this is going to end. Tony Khan has thoroughly educated us. I'm being fair. I'm being fair. Tony Khan has educated us on hometown people win. All right. In addition, he's educated us on pretty much rematches mean title changes. In addition to this, what else? Claudio Castagnoli, an impressive looking person and an amazing champion, Ring of Honor champion, hasn't been presented as champion on Ring of Honor. Not really. I think he's had maybe 3 matches and he's barely there. And he's got to actually cut a promo or 3 talking about just because you don't see me doesn't mean I'm not watching. That's how bad it is. Oh man, I wish I could be in charge of booking. In any case, so there's too much, right? Also, let's get into the political thing of it. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling. I guarantee you, Tony Khan was like, this would be good to do, this would be fun, thought about it, and then talked to New Japan, and I bet it went in that order. It was like, hey, how would you feel if there was a title change? And it's like, we don't want him to lose the belt. And Tony Khan's like, I've already advertised this, gotta stick with it. Now let's say it doesn't go down that way. Let's just simply put it as, he talked to them, it said no title change, we're in charge of our belt changing hands, not you. And Tony Khan's like, all right, cool. So, yeah, it was that kind of match. It was not nearly as good as their first match. I know Eddie is trying to do, as he has stated a few times in the past, the King's Road style, which I get, but you've got to be able to work with people that understand that style. And sometimes you have to evolve a style to fit the modern age. You don't change too much. That's the thing. When you want to evolve to match modern age, you only have to change like maybe a couple of things. Just a couple. The idea is realism. And it's hard to get realism when only one person knows the importance of a certain style. Plus, New Japan's styles require heavy cardio, heavy endurance, heavy toughness, and heavy hits. And I'll be honest with you, that's nothing of the US style of pro wrestling. That's just not, that's not it. That's not the focus. So there's all the commentary I can give for this match. The crowd, when they came out, the crowd was cheering for Claudio, but they were really cheering for Eddie. They was chanting his name. Yeah, Eddie, I mean, he hit a couple of Urakins. He was going for the Northern Light bomb here and there. Eddie wasn't blown up at the end of the match. He wasn't tired. It's just that Claudio was like, he started wrestling kind of like, I'm going to lose. But then he picked it up like, it's a match. Like, you know what? It's just, I'm just doing my job. I'm getting paid to go out there and do my job. My job is to lose the belt and have a great match, and that's what I'm going to do. You can tell he picked it up. Eddie, he was very consistent. Eddie has great promos. Eddie looks like not the everyday man, but that everyday tough guy. That's what I really like about Eddie Kingston. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He really is. Claudio, he's one of them too. And it was nice to see him wrestle, even though I know they could do a lot better than this. And I'm hoping there's a program that allows them to do such a thing. But Eddie did get the Northern Light bomb on, but it was a kick out. And, you know, I don't even know if there should have been a kick out. Only because the way he did the Northern Light bomb, it wasn't like Akira Hokuto's. No one's going to do it like Akira Hokuto. And nobody's going to do it like Sasaki Kensuke. However, and Hokuto is the one that made it. But his was more like Jun Akiyama's high angle exploder that looks more like some kind of free-handed over-the-shoulder DDT. That's what it looked like. It was just weird how he did it. It was just weird. It just won't flow with me. But still, Eddie Kingston, he did win with a powerbomb. And I'm going to be honest with you, from when it comes to this powerbomb, you can't get any more picture perfect. You really can't. It was a picture perfect, old school Japan powerbomb. I've seen it in video games, and video games didn't even do it as perfect as Eddie Kingston did it. So I'm actually like blown away by it. So yeah, he won. He's a double champion, and I'm happy for him. I really am. Claudio, you know, being slightly reluctant, he did shake Eddie's hand, shook his hand and left. Yeah, and I will mention that warming up for the match, he started Claudio putting knees to Wheeler Yuta and whatnot. That's neither here nor there, I suppose, but it happened. And then after that, you know, Eddie stood in the middle of the ring, and I didn't see him suck and win. So, you know, his cardio is good. But he stood there, and he just, it was quite beautiful though. I'm gonna give it that. Eddie stood center stage as if all his ills had finally washed off of him. It was a beautiful moment. That's how I saw it. And I know that's what I wonder how he'll be used as the Ring of Honor champion. If anything like Claudio, we won't see him for a while. Not even on Ring of Honor. You know, the Ring of Honor title shouldn't have been defended on Dynamite, but that just shows that Tony Khan don't even care for it. That's how bad it is. And that sucks. Or maybe it's just trying to advertise Ring of Honor, but he's making it look really bad. Ugh. Oh yeah, before I get on with this, I'd like to say it'd be nice if Tony Khan had a Ring of Honor crew and talent and separate it absolutely from Dynamite, and have a Collision talent and separate that from those two, and then Rampage could be sort of like a mixture. Let Rampage be Rampage. You know, you put on 2 matches from each of those shows, and you get to see things furthered or whatnot, and then he can make his own pay-per-view. I don't know. I mean, Collision's already taken, but it could be, you know, Ring of Honor and Collision and Dynamite people sort of like who's best, you know, and have the crowd intermingled into it with votes and things like that, and giving their opinions online. I think they could do well with something like that. So next to Kingdom, they sit next to Roderick Strong, who's laid up in a hospital bed wearing his glasses, kind of crookedly. Adam Cole comes in, and the Kingdom leave, and he says that he's got to leave and support MJF. Roderick plays up the guilt a little bit of him leaving his side to go to another side, and then Cole nears the door. Strong uses the bed to elevate him and simply tells him, just go. Just go. You can tell. And Cole, he got in there pretty well. Next, Christian Cage talks up the match of he and Luchasaurus versus Darby and Sting. He then makes a 3-way dance match for the title. and Luchasaurus and Darby Allin. So that'd be a 3-way. Then he made a LOL, slip of the tongue, saying it's going to be a handicap match. But okay. People like Darby Allin. People like Christian Cage. People are kind of like, with Luchasaurus. And people, when they wrestle, the people cheer for Darby Allin. They love to hate Christian. Luchasaurus is nothing. I don't even know why they keep doing this. Even Christian has to know this program is not the best. But they got commitment and they're trying to work with it. So, here's the hope. Next, Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara. Sammy is wrapped into the ring. Then they had their match. It was a match. Sammy missed a counter foot jab to Jericho, who fell just short of the targeted area. Then Sammy had to do another one. The crowd murmured and groaned, and some of the other crowd was just, it was weird. Some kind of crowd noise was piped over all of that. You could just hear it kind of kick in. Stuff like that. But Sammy, he hit a very convoluted avalanche ace crusher for a 2 count. 2 count on more than a legit finisher, I mean, I can't call it a legit finisher because that's not done too often that I've seen. But if someone does an ace crusher off the tip of the top rope, don't kick out. Just don't. Later, Sammy goes for a shooting star press. Jericho counters with a capture code breaker for the win. After the match, they hug it out. Then Sammy low blow kicks Jericho. The crowd slightly come up for it. Don Callis come out, and the crowd is, he come out and leave with Sammy, and the crowd is mixed. Just think they hate Callis, right? But with Sammy leaving with him, they're kind of like, yeah, we're not happy, but okay. So then there's a promo. MJF and Cole arrive, and Max cuts a promo on Joe, hating him for 8 years. He promises to choke Joe out, but choke him out, and all he'll hear is the crowd chanting MJF. Max does the outro, and Cole gets a phone call from Roderick Strong and he's like, "You're not gonna die." So that's when he goes off and gets to the hospital. I think, they did say earlier today. Okay, so then there's the international title match. Rey Fenix versus Goon. So before delivering a rail-hung DDT, Goon gives the middle finger to the people and then mouths, "Fuck you." So yay! Goon with the power driver. And Sockface says, "Rey is unconscious." Oh, okay. Sockface says, "He's out." And then the unconscious man kicks out on 2. So Phoenix hit a Senton Atomico. He picks up Goon after the finisher. Then he gives him his finisher. Tenzan Tombstone Driver. And the ref counts 2. And just stops. 1, 2. Yeah, I got to check the shoulders. It's just a little. And then hear the dumbass commentary. I think Claudio flinched. And no. Now you're just insulting everybody at home. It's bad enough the wrestlers do it in the ring now. You don't have to do it on commentary. But yeah, there's no reason given. There's nothing. The crowd is upset. Phoenix picks up Goon and delivers the Tenzan Tombstone Driver again, this time with a leg hook and pin to win the belt. He's all happy. He can't believe it. It's the greatest day in his life. And the fans is like, things happened and happening things are happening. There was no cheers for the win, no chance for the performer, just annoyance. The crowd is torn between, this is my assumption, the crowd is torn between rage at the pin, not caring that Phoenix won, and wanting Goon to keep it. I'm throwing Goon a bone. So then Joe cuts a short, brutal promo against MJF. All right. Then there's the Women's World Title match. I couldn't believe I took notes on this. Toni Storm versus Saraya. Yes. And Saraya comes to the ring, and there is no spunk on the belt. So that's a trend that's keeping up. Good, spunkless belts is exactly what we need. So, but this is Toni Storm with a nice black and white intro for the people at home. And I say that for a reason. Because personally, if I'm in the audience and everything, including I, go black and white, I'm getting out of the building as panicked as one can be. What am I supposed to do? Brag that I'm grayscaled against my will at wrestling? No, I'm getting up out of there. I'm going to dive out the ring, out that area, and every other place, like the ref left the ring or later on, which I will talk about. But then the match begins, and Saraya, I'm going to just say, Toni Storm, hey, we people at home watching it, we get the luxury. It's black and white. It's Hollywood starlet darling, just glammed up. It's beautiful. I can only surmise if you're in the audience and you see what Toni Storm is doing, she just looks like a nut. But you see it at home and it's like, wow, this is really good. Great production. But at there, it's like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, stop fucking singing about moon men. It's kind of like that. It's weird, but okay. So Saraya, they start off, Saraya slapping her, saying, you need me. Storm smiles about it, starts fighting back. Storm knocks Ruby Soho off the apron. Storm leaves the ring. She rolls under the ring, and Soho drags her out. Storm has a shoe. Watch for the shoe. So she's got the shoe and starts pummeling Soho with it. She gets in the ring, and behind her back, she pops Saraya in the middle of the forehead. But she kicks out of the pin. Storm gets a rope hung DDT on Saraya on the ramp. So that happened. You know, I mean, it's a DDT. It could have been match ending. It could have been career ending. Been a nice angle for injury. Would have been. I like it, but they didn't do that. The Saraya counters on the top rope with a sunset flip dragon bomb for a 2 count. It's another finisher used. Okay. Not theirs, but just legit finishers. The ref was distracted. Saraya sprays Storm in the face. DDT and kick out on 2. Okay. Now that kick out on the finish is the, to pump up the challenger, to get the crowd behind the challenger. So that was a good, that's for the belt. You need to kick out. Saraya beats Storm head from the top to the middle buckle, and then stops at the exposed buckle on the bottom. And then Storm blocks a toe kick, lowers the leg, and then kisses Saraya. Not a bad spot and totally out of the blue. And no, I'm not opposed to if a guy did that, because I've seen guys do that in wrestling and, win a match, or, it helps disorient. And something, it's a good distraction. I mean, if I'm in the ring and I'm fighting some dude kiss me, I'm going to have about 3 seconds of shot before I come out of it and start fighting you. Use it well. So, yep, out the kiss, Storm 0, kick out on 2. Sockface says, Storm nearly stole the title. Stupid guy. Just a stupid guy. It's one-on-one. I'm in the ring. I use my own stuff. I kiss. I get my move. 1, 2, kick out. You almost stole it with your legit stuff. Dumbass. Saraya DDT from the middle buckle, and she wins. She won. Belt retained. And nothing after the match. I put post-match, but nothing happened. There's always something, right? But nothing happened. Okay, cool. So AEW World Title match. We get to the end of the show. And Joe comes to the ring, does his thing. MJF is going to get to the ring, but he's got an opening package. MJF intro is a callback to the refrigerator Perry. I think it's Pittsburgh Steelers, and he gave the kid the shirt, but this time, he gives him the scarf. The intro ends with the kid because MJF, being a scumbag, The kid looks at his dad, am I adopted? It's like, oh man. So MJF comes out to the ring with roughly half the New York apparel from Coming to America. So, and no, I'm not talking about Coming to America, you know, the sequel. No one ever needs to talk about that movie, okay? Don't bring it up. You know, it's like a Nightmare on Elm Street. If you don't bring up his name, you don't think about him, then you can't remember him, then you can't dream about him, then he can't come back. So don't bring up Coming to America. You leave it alone. You let it die, all right? Like COVID's trying to kill itself, you know, but people won't let it die. Don't bring it up. Now, let's move on. So Joe, not Jay. That person's not on this show. He's wrapped up in other stupid stuff. Yeah, I'm talking about Lethal. He's not doing anything good. Count his career dead. He wrestles, but does he? So Joe takes over. Takes over early, working the neck. And I wrote a lot of notes. I couldn't help it. I was just into this. So he took over. MJF kept trying to get the sleeper on. So it's like, I'm going to choke you out. I'm going to get it on. I'm going to do my thing. And it lets you see the clear size difference between the two. MJF tries to mount a comeback, but Joe cuts him off. During the break, Joe furthers the damage by sending Max into the timekeeper's table. Joe becomes highly methodical and uses a neck crank on Max. Max fights back and is cut off by a stiff elbow, but that gets the crowd up. They're like, woo! Back from the break, Joe has Max in the corner and goes for the muscle buster only to get rolled up. Max fights back, putting Joe off balance. One more attempt to knock Joe down ends with a stiff arm lariat, and I mean a good stiff arm lariat for a 2 count. If that was a 3 count and injured, it would have been all right. It would have made, if Joe would have won this match right here, it would have been all right. But no. So Joe rips off the New York shirt that Max is wearing and wipes his pelvis with it. The crowd is upset. Joe is working the crowd almost the whole match, but he's paying predominant attention to his opponent. You know, that's something that the other guy couldn't do. And I ain't talking about MJF. So MJF, he fights back, hulks up, and then the screen goes black because audio, about technical difficulties, it happens. When it comes back, Max is striking Joe's head into the corner. Then he does a 9 count punch and then bites him. Joe shoves Max off, who does a backflip and prepares for the kangaroo kick. Crowd comes up for it, and he lands the kick, and the crowd pops. Crowd, they're going nuts for MJF. MJF does a dive, and Joe catches him with a gamagiri and then does a Death Valley driver. But instead of the head hitting the apron, MJF's shoulder blade strikes the corner of the apron, and on the floor, Joe laughs maniacally. This is very uncharacteristic of Joe. Very uncharacteristic. MJF kicks out, and it's the laughing, not anything else. It's the laughing. MJF is rolled into the ring, kick out on 2, but it's been a while, so it makes sense. Joe gets a table because why not, right? Table against the railing and Sambo slam MJF onto it. Should be a DQ. It's a weapon. It was used. Should have been a DQ. Joe never does this level of damage unless he's going to lose. Just want y'all to know that. I had to write that down. MJF kicks out on 2, and yet it'd been a while. Table spot could have been an injury spot, you know, nice count out. MJF would retain the belt. Joe would not win the belt, but he'd win the match. But it is what it is. Joe pulls back the padding and tries to power drive Max on the floor, the exposed hardest part of the floor. But to block it, Max bites him on the leg, which is good. Joe recovers, toe kick, pile driver on the exposed floor. Could be a DQ for unsportsmanlike conduct. Could be, but they didn't do that. The staff come in, they're checking on MJF, but Joe rolls him into the ring. MJF kicks out on 2. Joe holds MJF by the hair and tells him, hey, you can't win. You need to give up. Max spits in Joe's face and Joe pops him. Just punched him. Joe comes off the apron for a lariat, but MJF backflips over the arm. hit a nice dragon bomb for a 2 count. After a short strike exchange, MJF tries the sleeper, but Joe slips out of it, applies one of his own. MJF grabs the referee, mule kicks Joe. Max gets the diamond ring while looking at the camera like, hey. I ain't gonna lie, I thought that was good. I popped for that one, I did. Max rushes Joe, who pulls the ref in the way and the ref removes the ring from MJF. Ref removes the ring, and with him being that distracted, MJF catches a low blow kick from Joe, who goes into match finish speed and applying the muscle buster for a 2 count. Joe is shocked, something you rarely ever seen on his face, so rare it doesn't even look right on him. Joe applies a kneeling sleeper hold on, and the ref checks MJF as Adam Cole runs down with a slight limp. He screams for Max to fight back. He's cheering him on, and then on the third drop of the arm, Max fights back, and then he bites Joe. Max is very bitey today. Max tries a sleeper hold. Joe rushes Max into the corner, and the ref dives out of the ring as if a lion entered the thing. The ref dove like he was trying to fly like Superman. I was like, that dude got out the way. I mean, like, just capital, just uppercase T-H-E. He got out the way. Add another E. He got out the way. You know, I was like, who? I did rewind it when I saw him dive. I had to rewind and see if somebody attacked him, but no, he just got out the way. Cole leaps onto the apron and Joe tries to get him. MJF gets athletic tape or the tag rope or something and chokes Joe, then hides it in a sleeper chokehold. And then the ref enters the ring. One of the staff is talking to the ref on the floor for some reason. But Joe, he's being garroted on the mat. The ref checks Joe, and with no response, he stops the match. MJF retains. Post-match, Max hugs the ref, directing Adam Cole to remove the item from the ring. Joe recovers and looked like, you know, what? Because when you recover from a knockout, it's like you're either fresh or still hurt from the stuff right before the knockout. So he did just right. He did just right, Joe did. He got up and he looks at Adam Cole and he shoves Cole into the ropes and Max steps in between them. Joe extends his hand and Max is hesitant because the last time Joe extended his hand, it was a kick to the ropes, low blow, and he stomped him out. But hey, this time, nope, MJF shook his hand and respectful, code of honor, Joe left. And I know that the commentary is not mentioning at all of Adam Cole's obvious limp. You know, that was the show. That's how that was. So hope you enjoyed. It's been Cedric for CR Wrestling Commentary, All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. And with that, I want y'all to be good, be safe, be chill. And we'll see you next time.